Hello and welcome to Relatively Crafty, a knitting podcast. I'm your host, Christy. I come to you from the Denver area of Colorado, where I live with my husband, Ron, our two daughters, Tatum and Delaney, our tuxedo kitty, Lilu, and our Podengo puppy, Sophie. Welcome. If you are new to the podcast, this is a knitting podcast. I talk about the things that I have knit, the things that I am knitting, and the things that I am hoping to knit one day in the near future. I am not a complete slob. I just ate a strawberry, just one strawberry, and it pottied on me. So hopefully that'll go away before the end of the end of the podcast. So I have actually been pretty prolific with my knitting. I've got 3 finished objects to show you guys, and some works in progress that are pretty far along. So I thought it would be a good idea to go ahead and podcast. So I'm gonna do that. Oh, I have 4 finished objects. I forgot. I finished my mom's sweater. Here is it. And that is not my mom wearing it. It didn't fit my mom. I did not, I didn't gauge it right. It's kind of, this whole experience was a little bit frustrating because I had made my mom a sweater last year, this one, and which is, what is it called? The Hysope. Okay, I made it for her and it fit fine, but after she wore it a couple of times, it got real loose around the center trunk area, and each time that she washes it, she has to do certain things to try to get it to shrink a little bit, but it just got, it stretched too much. It's superwash yarn. Superwash yarn does tend to stretch, but it's been a problem. And so she specifically asked that this new sweater not have that problem, and I thought that by having her try it on as we went, that we were going to avoid that. I had her tell me what the length of her favorite fitting sweater was, so I could make sure the body was exactly right, and I thought we were good to go, but when she tried it on, it was too short and too small, and my aunt happened to be with us, and she's like, "Oh, I like it," and she tried it on, and she likes things to be oversized. As you can tell, she is a very small, petite woman, and so she has taken it for herself and is wearing it and loving it, and that's great. I'm glad that she's able to enjoy that, but that meant that my mother was out of a sweater, which is kind of a bummer. So I've got another sweater on the needles for her. I don't know that this is going to be a winner either, but we'll see. But anyway, I finished my mom's sweater. I did not tell you what it was. Let me do that. It is the Arco Iris by Joji Locatelli. I knit it out of some yarn that I had gotten initially from Bigfoot Fibers, but then I'd only gotten a single skein, and so I bought some from like a dyeing supply, so it's bare yarn. It's like 75% merino, 20% nylon, and 5% silver lyrics. So it's very sparkly. Yeah, 75% extra fine merino, 20% nylon, 5% lurex. Looks like this. I don't know if you can see the sparkles or if it's just blowing out, but yeah, and I have quite a lot of it left over. Looks like, I think I've got like 2.5 skeins of the undyed, and then I've got a bunch of these minis. At this point, I don't ever want to knit with it again. It wasn't hard to knit with, and it's not unpleasant yarn. It is actually very pleasant yarn, but I am never going to wear anything with sparkles, and I didn't enjoy knitting the undyed yarn. After a while, it got really boring. So, so yeah, I don't know. Right now, it's just kind of sitting here. I might try to destash it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. But my mom's sweater, my aunt's sweater is finished and is being worn and loved, and that is great. I also have this sweater. This is also a Hohi Locatelli pattern. I'm sorry for all of the noise you're hearing. That's my family walking upstairs. The basement is not the best place to be for recording, but it is what it is. So this is the Amy cardigan by Hohi Locatelli, as I mentioned, and I knit it out of Wonderland Yarns and Frabjous Fibers in the Mad Hatter base, which is the sport weight base. And I actually finished this in January, I think. But this is one of those things where the sweater is meant to have a large amount of positive ease, and I didn't want it to have. I thought, oh, well, I think really what it was is that I was afraid I was going to run out of yarn. And so I opted to make it with less positive ease so that I didn't run out of yarn. That being said, I did not run out of yarn. And I ended up adding to the sleeves this, because I was supposed to finish the sleeves on the brown, but they weren't long enough, but then I blocked them and now they're too long. And I don't like the way they fit. I don't like the sweater, the way it fits at all. The drop sleeves are weird. It doesn't stay on. I wore it for a walk the other day, and it just kept falling off my shoulders. It didn't help that I was walking the dog. And she's not the best at walking properly. She's also now fighting with the cat. Hey, stop. So there's nothing wrong with the pattern. This is completely my issue. I had issues. I didn't follow the instructions properly, and didn't make the sweater fit the way it was supposed to, and so now it's weird. So when I finished it, it didn't fit at all, and I was really disappointed in it. I don't like the way the sleeve feels. Bugging me. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it alone. I put up pictures of what I look like right after it was blocked. I blocked it. Blocking helped quite a lot. I've also lost some weight, which also helps, of course. But as I said, it's nothing wrong with the pattern. It's completely user error. Plus, I didn't use the same. I only had a single skein of each of these colors, so I had to add more colors. I think Hohi's pattern only is for 4 or 5, and what do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so I mean, it was all chalking it up to one of those things where I enjoyed the knitting of it, because I did enjoy the knitting of it. And so for entertainment value, the knitting was fun, and I liked that, and so it's a win for that. But as a garment, I'm not keen. I really don't like the way this sleeve feels. It's like here. Isn't that weird? I feel like it needs to be up higher, but that's weird. Then it don't. I don't know. I got issues. So, anyway, it's done. Point is it's done. I finished it. I've got some proper FO shots, and we're calling it good. And maybe somebody with smaller arms. Maybe my arms just still aren't the right size for this. My upper arms are a little bit on the big side, and I don't think this sweater is for that. It's too bad my kids don't like wearing hand knits, because it would probably fit Tatum perfectly. can't all be winners, can they? I do have a winner though. Let me show you the other thing I finished. I think, was I working on this last time? I think I was, maybe I was working on it, or maybe I had just planned on working. I think that's it. I had just planned on working on it. I told you that I was going to knit this. This is the Daisy Lady by Stephanie Lotvin. And I was going to start it. I didn't even show you guys the yarn, but I started it and finished it. This was so much fun to knit, guys. It just flew off the needles. It's a bottom up summer top, and the original pattern calls for you to use a contrasting color here for the bottom, but I didn't want to do that, so I just used the main color. Starting it was a little bit awkward, as it always is when you have, 200 plus stitches on the needles, and you got to join in the round, and you got to not twist it. The first time I started it, I did twist it, so I had to start it again. But once I established, the pattern, these little daisy stitches, I think it was like every 10 rows or something like that, was perfect because it made you feel like you were making progress instead of just knitting stockinette. And I very quickly got done with the body part, and then it was just separating for sleeves and knitting the daisy stitch in all the colors, which I obviously did, and then finishing up the top, and it was easy peasy mac and cheesy. It fits beautifully. It's perfect. And it's the kind of top that will go ahead and fluctuate with my weight fluctuation as I continue to get smaller. The hardest part, I think, was weaving in all the ends, because there were 2 ends for each one of these stripes. That kind of sucked, but I did avoid a couple of extra ends because the original pattern has you change colors at this point. So once you start doing the colored stripes, you're changing to a different color, and I didn't have to do that. I chose not to do that. So yeah, I'm just waiting for it to get warm enough so I can wear this in public, because we still have had some chilly, rainy weather lately, and so I haven't worn it out yet. But this was super fun. So much fun. I got to use up some yarn that had been in my stash for 13 years. This is Volmisa. This main green is Grasshopper. And then all of these are also Volmisa in different different colorways. I don't have the names of them. I think I got them in a swap years ago. I've had all this yarn for 12, 13 years in my stash waiting for something. I still have quite a bit left over. I only used, I think, 5 grams for each of these, for all of the stripes, for each color. So I still have some left over. I don't know. I might make a pair of stripy socks or fingerless gloves or something like that, because I still have like 80 grams, I think, with the green and all the minis. So yeah, I am just really, really, really happy with it, and I love this green. Gosh, it's such a pretty color. So yeah, I knit it. Gosh, I knit it quick too. Like, I just had fun with it. So the whole thing took me from April 25th to May 10th. So what's that, like 15 days? Yeah, you gotta love these summer tops for quick knits. And it blocked out so nicely. I can't say enough nice things about it. I'm just so pleased. It's so nice when something comes together. And yeah, so this one looks beautiful on a hanger, not so great on my body. This one looks great on my body, and that's wonderful. So now that I've podcast about it and the weather's starting to turn warmer, I can now make plans to wear it. I might wear it on Wednesday. My daughter graduates high school on Wednesday, so I gotta look pretty for that. I have one more FO, and that's just a pair of socks. These are the Rose City Rollers, knit out of Leading Men Fiber Arts. This colorway. This colorway is called Welcome to the Jungle. So I knit them using the pattern top down with a rolled cuff, a heel flap and gusset, a wedge toe, basic sock. And I've just been knitting these shorty socks just kind of while I'm at work for that half hour that I have for my lunch. And yeah, they're finished. And that is all of my finished objects. But as I mentioned, I do have several projects going. So let's go ahead and get into the next one. I'm trying to make sure that this is a quicker video. So I have another pair of socks that are on the needles. Same thing, Rose City Rollers, knit out of Leading Men Fiber Arts. In their Showstopper base, the Showstopper Intermission, which is a 50-gram put-up, which is plenty to knit a pair of shorty socks. So I have the first sock completed. This colorway is Wilderness, and I just fell in love with it. This blue is much more teal than it's showing up on camera. That color is so hard to take a picture of, or to get to be true onto camera. And then the second sock is in progress. I have passed the heel. I'm now working on the foot. I think I finished all of the decreases. So a couple hours left of work on this, and then it will be done. But I'm not going to take it to work this week because I am close to finishing up that other sweater for my mom, and I want to get that done. So let me go ahead and show you that. I think I'm going to start taking it to work. I don't know if I said that, but I meant to. So this pattern is, I felt really bad, obviously, when my mom went to try on the Arco Iris and it didn't fit, and I was like, well, crap. I need to start something for her right away. So I brought her down here and I had her look through my yarns. The problem is that a lot of my sweater quantities are solids or semi-solids, and she wanted something not solid. So I was going through my stash and I found this fade kit that I had bought from 6 and 7 Fibers, gosh, a long time ago, back when Andrea Mowry came out with her So Faded pullover. And so let's see, I bought it in 2018. And I had bought it with the intent, it was a gradient kit meant to make a So Faded. And I was going to make myself another one. If you guys recall, I made one out of Yarn Cafe Creations, and I loved it. It was so much fun to knit, and I wanted to make a bunch of them. And so I bought this kit. Well, it's not solids, right? It's, it's this fade. So I thought maybe she might like that. And she said she did. So I showed her all of these patterns in Ravelry that were meant for a fade. And she picked this one, which is called the Ferris Wheel Fade by Lena Matheson. And I was like, okay, well, yeah, I can totally make that out of that. But she's not big on yellows and oranges like I am, so we decided I would start with the purple. And so I did. And I looked at it as I was winding up the yarn. Now, these were 5 full skeins of 440 yards. This yarn is, it's her Clover base, which is 75% Corriedale and 25% nylon, 443 yards. I knew that I wasn't going to need that. And for, need all of it. And since Mom wasn't really keen on the yellow and oranges, I was like, well, I could use up all of the purples and that middle orangey purple yarn skein, and then there would be the colors that I like left over. So maybe I'll make 2 of them. One for me and one for Mom, going opposite ways on this fade. And so I started on Mom's, and I'm not a huge fan of this pattern. It's a great pattern for a first-time sweater knitter because it's got a lot of detail in it, a lot of explanations on why you're doing things a certain way and whatnot. But I, as an experienced knitter, there's a lot of fluff, for lack of a better word, that I have to kind of wade through in order to find the vital information. And I don't really like the way the increases were done for the raglan. I think it's making the raglan too deep. So for my preferences. So all that to say, I'm not going to make another one for myself, but I do have something else that I'm going to use that yarn for, and it's already cast on, so I'll show that to you too. But here is the sweater so far for my Mom. I used the very yellow, the last color, to make this. I guess this is why it's called Ferris wheel. This hem, neckline, and then you can see I faded out from the darkest purple to the kind of reddy purple, and now I have just faded into the purpley orange. I went ahead and did the sleeves already, so they are complete, and I think it's going to be a little bit big for my Mom. I tried it on. I'm bigger than my Mom, and it fits me just fine. So that's why I was saying that it may not end up becoming my mother's. It is meant to have some positive ease, up to 8 inches, I think, and I've got gauge. The size that I'm making will give her 6 inches of positive ease, so I'm just wondering if it'll be fine, because when she puts it on, it'll be the right amount of positive ease. It had positive ease on me too, but not quite as much. Also, this top purple is kind of browny, which isn't really her style, so she may not like the color, honestly. So if she doesn't, then I can keep it. I like it. It'll be pretty. I can see a point of wearing it. And I'm almost done. And I've only been knitting on this for like I think I cast it on right around my birthday, so a couple of weeks. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm in the final color. It's this one. I don't know if you can see it, but there's purple bits in there, and I'll finish off the sweater. You can see I've gotten quite a few inches done. I think I've got about 10, 11 inches on the body done. So I just need to complete it, and then we'll see if Mom likes it. If she doesn't, I will make it a home here. Again, I'm like 75% process knitter. I enjoy the product most of the time, but I really like the knitting. So sometimes it's just about making the thing, which is good, because sometimes things don't fit. My last work in progress is the thing that I'm making for the remainder. So I have these 2 colors, and then whatever's left of that other orange. You can see these are definitely bright and happy and not really Mom's cup of tea. By the way, this is what I had left of the dark purple, and this is what I had left of the lighter purple. So I can't really put them in because I can't fade them. But I am making the Hawk Ridge tee by Autumn and Indigo. Looks like that. I'll see if I can find a better picture to put up. And I just think it's a pretty simple loose gauge tee. It uses the same needles at the same gauge as the Ferris wheel, so I knew I wasn't going to have to do a gauge swatch because I already knew I got that gauge. And I'm working on it. I don't have a whole lot. Let's see there. It's a yoke sweater, so I've started the yoke, and I've just done like half of the lace. I think you do 2 repeats of the lace chart, and I've got like half of 1 repeat done. So yeah, it'll be a nice simple, you know, it's a loose gauge. It's like 22 stitches on a US 7 to 4 inches. So it's a nice loose gauge, so I won't use all that much yarn, and I can have it kind of fade out, and it'll be a nice summer sweater. So that is what I'm working on. And that's it. It's kind of a quick one. I did get some new yarns. I'm not going to take them out of the bags, but I made another order from Little Knits. I love that website, but doggone it, they kill me with their massive sales and beautiful yarns. So this is, I don't know if I can say this, Inouye. It's a Yorkshire yarn company. This is the name of them. It's like a rustic, one of those wools that you end up making an heirloom sweater that you have forever and ever. And it's recycled wool, which I thought was kind of cool. So it's 97% wool and 3% other fibers, and 80% of it is recycled. So I thought that was kind of cool. And they had it for great deals. I think it was a closeout. I don't know if they're holding it, if they're carrying it anymore. But I basically got a sweater's quantity in this like tan color. And then I got a sweater quantity in each of these, the red, the navy, and the gray. So yeah, they're 50-gram balls of DK weight yarn, and I figure I can make something. It's got like a nice like tweedy texture, so I could really make some really pretty sweaters. And that is my plan on that. That's it, guys. This will be a quick one, which will be good. It'll be easier to edit that way. I guess that's it. I feel awkward. Okay, I'm going to say goodbye now. Happy knitting. Bye.